Now we're going to talk a little bit about the foundation itself and the work of the board. I'd say that this year's conference has been our most ambitious and perhaps our most successful, and that's due in part to the work of our board members and our board leadership, not only to do all of the organizing work necessary to pull this off, but also the tremendous amount of fundraising that has subsidized all of our participation in this event. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask Gretchen Noah and Kate Duran to come up to the stage and talk about some of that work so that we can sustain the work of the Smith-Lemli-Opitz Foundation.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gretchen Noah with the Smith-Lemli-Opitz Foundation, and I've been involved with fundraising since our son was diagnosed when he was about 2.5. 2006. Right around 2006. And it has been one of the most wonderful, you're up here too. And Amy, come on up here. Kaylee is not here. And Marty, do you want to grab Kelly? Okay, Kelly will come up. But I want to introduce you to some of the amazing people from the board and some that aren't here as well. Our current board is made up of me and Kate, who's been here pretty much just as long as I've been. And do you want to say a little bit about yourself? And
so if any of you have seen a redhead walking around, kind of looking up at the ceiling a lot and trying to escape his parents, that's my kid. His name is Juki. He's 22. And I think I got involved with the foundation when he was about 10, maybe. Gretchen and I met when she was trying to get her son Marky diagnosed, and he had gone to the Mayo Clinic, and they had told her that he did not have SLO. And then she happened to read something that I wrote back in the day when we didn't really have social media or anything like that. I think it was on the SLO newsletter.
Yeah, like the SLO exchange.
And I was describing Juki and asking, were there any other parents out there with a kid like mine? And she said, that kid sounds exactly like my kid. So she cold called me and we fell into fast friendship instantly.
Yeah, so I'm sure I cried through the whole conversation.
Yeah.
But yes, it was an amazing phone call that really changed our life, because within 2 weeks of meeting Kate, after 18 months of being told Marky didn't have it and searching, it was really Kate and her family that, and Dr. Kelly and his team that changed our life. And within 2 weeks, we were diagnosed correctly. At the time, they didn't know how mild Smith-Lemli-Opitz could go. And they know that much better now. And so sometimes our journey looks a little bit different, but we all need each other. And that's the importance also of the foundation, is because you never know what piece of information or photo. That's why people say like, wow, you've got like 109 photos in the brochure. Why do you have so many photos? It's because sometimes because of the mutations or whatever the reason, our kids, they look alike, but they can look a little different and at different ages. And so, you may see that familiar face. I mean, they all may have the pushed up nose, but there's that certain look. And we want people to, if it aids one more person in finding the diagnosis, we want to do that. So you'll see our new website is just full of all sorts of things to help with that. But let me also introduce Amy. She is on our board. And do you want to introduce yourself and Andy?
Sure. Andy's that guy in the red shirt with the camera way in the back. And so our history with the foundation, our daughter Angela was born in 2003. And when she was about 6 weeks old, I think it was, Andy's sister happened to be doing a Google search and she found Dr. Kelly And we had known from the start that Angela had SLO because she had some organ abnormalities. And so the geneticist brought out this dusty old book about, some options. And it was when she was about 6 days old, they definitively decided it was SLO. And so we knew nothing. And we tried our best not to do a Google search, but we still did. And it was pretty dire. But thank goodness for a sister-in-law who found Dr. Kelly. And we saw him for the first time when she was only a couple weeks old. And so he gave us information that all the other doctors had been telling us 6 weeks, maybe a couple months, definitely not more than a year. And he was the first one to show us an alternative. And so we went to him a couple times, and then just randomly he called us up and mentioned, hey, did you know about the conference that was coming up? Our first conference was in Baltimore. She wasn't quite 2. And we found out very last minute, like there was a month to go. And so we called up Cindy Gold, who was in charge of the conferences at the time. And she was able to fit us in. And so we went down and we were opened up to a whole new world. And so I was busy. We were busy taking care of Angela her entire life. And it was in May of 2018 that she lost her battle with SLO after a hospitalization. Well, she's in heaven now, and no more wheelchairs, no more SLO. So, but then I started thinking what I would do with all the time I suddenly had, where I could maybe sleep through the night mostly and not get up multiple times of the night, not have to worry about 2 feeds and ordering formula and making sure I couldn't bring in doctor appointments. So Gretchen called me up the one afternoon and said, would you like to join the board? And I was like, well, yeah, I would. And so I'm here. And I've come to several conferences, mostly on the East Coast, because it was just convenient. And I think it was about 4 conferences over her lifespan. And then I became involved in planning the conferences. And boy, I have all the respect in the world for them because, yeah, for sure. They're the ones that make it go. And I ask what to do and they tell me what to do. And so here we are.
Yes, just ask me what to do and I definitely will sign you up for anybody that wants to
Yes.
join in the fun.
No
That's
previous experience necessary.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, in addition to Amy and Kate, we have Kelly that many of you have met over there. And that's our daughter and kind of Marky's second mother, so to speak. But we also have Michael Cohen, Dr. Michael Cohen, and then also Carola Gutierrez. And she is in Bolivia right now and couldn't be with us. So we have and of course, Kaylee Kempster, and she's with her daughter right now, but she's here and many of you met her. So we want to thank the current board, thank our medical advisory board, which is full of the most amazing individuals that you have met and listened to, some of which are here, and Dr. Rahal and Porter and Rizzo and many others that many of you have gotten to know very closely through your child and different programs that you've been in. But we want to take just a few minutes to say some special thank yous. And it sort of goes all the way back. We wouldn't be here where we're at without the people that were before us. And so I want to acknowledge Barbara Hook and the 37 families that in 1988 banded together to get registered in Pennsylvania and start the Smith-Lemli-Opitz. It used to be called the Smith-Lemli-Opitz RSH Foundation. And that was Barbara Hook, Pam Scott, Eleanor Stevens, Frank and Mary Spitelli, Mark Gordy. They had a whole team that was a very grassroots organization. And for those of you who remember, like I do, with all of the newsletters that, used to be mailed out, 25-page newsletters, or Mandy, who continued to make those until we, learned how to do them online and stopped doing those. But it morphed then into the leadership team of Cindy Gold and Michelle Gardner, who was our first major fundraiser, and then Melissa Gallagher as well, who also was a part of our first team. This also transitioned to adding Seth Helgeson, Mandy Black, who's right over here in the room, and many others, including Kathy Proudfoot, John Martin, Danny Lesueur, Celia Heron, Carolyn Kelly. I want to give a big shout out to, because she was a big part of the beginning of our new website and our new logo, which it was more work than you ever possibly can imagine, to change from the egg to the heart with Helix. So it really has been a number of years, a number of individuals, and even more than just that. And so I want to acknowledge all of those people who had a big or small hand in growing it, to where it is, because really we're all just people, and I kind of laugh, and I've said this to many people, when somebody asks us, well, where do you headquarter out from? And I kind of laugh and say, well, it's my couch in Fargo. That's our office, because we're all over. And you are just as much a part of it as us. I mean, we are all we've got, because the foundation is just families and the support that we give each other. So we have, it's not just 5 or 7 or 10 of us, we're getting close to 1,200 strong. And we are global now. A good chunk of our families are now international. All of the registrations that are coming in, I mean, I would say for sure, at least 30-35% are international folks who have found us because of the wonderful work that Diana Hansen and Move Me Media and Message has done with our website. It's translatable into 125 languages, and people are coming out of the woodwork to find support, find access to specialists, find access to information that they can forward to their individuals. And we want to know how we can make it better and better. So we got the basics up, but we have many, many things planned for this website. And if you see something that I've already had people say, hey, have you thought of doing this? And I'm like, well, you're in charge then, and let's talk afterwards. So I mean, and I can look at a number of you who are going to be, getting a call from me. And so it's all you have to do is mention something, and then I take it into a direction. So be careful of talking to me for too long. But thank you. One of the biggest thanks I want to give for this conference is for Travere Therapeutics and their support in helping us to first, and I also want to thank who wasn't able to be here, and she's part of this next discussion. And that is also one of our previous board members. It's Bonnie Williams, and Bonnie had Zophyr. And Zophyr passed, and Bonnie also, similar to Amy, found some amazing, joy in being able to help on a higher level on the board of directors. So I encourage you, if you are thinking at all about volunteering, we have a place for you. So just make a phone call and an idea. Marty Drake just did like 20 minutes ago, and she's our new historian. So the Smith-Lemli-Opitz historian is Marty Drake. It's not a big mouth. But then I don't want to also forget to thank Libin Zoo and JB Roulet, who and of course the medical advisory board. They chose all the speakers and then helped in a significant way to make all of this happen. But they were our hosts for the scientific conference, and I'm sure you understand how they come in a day early, we overlap a day, and then we end it. So most of them are already gone. But I do want to acknowledge them, acknowledge Dr. Andy Jones, pub master. Everybody give him a round of applause. Neil Grumbles and Mark Noah and Andy D'Annunzio. And some of the magic behind some of our marketing and new logo and such is Caleb Fugelberg. And he is an amazing person also from Fargo, North Dakota, who I work with on other things as well. And he's helped us to kind of our vision, and all of a sudden it's on paper, and that's just an amazing thing. So I hope I did not forget anybody, but the next thing that we want to, oh no, I did, Dr. Tierney and Dr. O'Connor for the special sessions that they had. Please give it up. Haley, Amy, and to mention, of course, that this, as always, all of these are in our conferences that we host, and everything that we do is in honor and memory of all of the children with Smith-Lemli-Opitz, all the children and the adult children, all the, teens and everything in between. We do this for them, and we love you, and let's hear it for our kids. All right, I hope I have thanked everybody. If I didn't, please know that you appreciate it. But we want to tell you a little bit about something. I know a lot of you have had a chance to look at the website, explore. I encourage you to look at what we're missing, what we can do differently. We're always open to suggestions, and please send them our way, info@smithlemliopitz.org. But one of the things that we are really excited about is a new fundraising initiative that, a lot of us host, Jeans Day at work, and, bake sales, and, hockey tournaments, and walks, and all golf tournaments, and all sorts of things. And those are all amazing Facebook fundraisers. And all of those are wonderful things, but at a certain point, we would love to help the foundation to grow to the point where we can make sure that, this is covered into perpetuity. And so we had the idea to create a large operational endowment, and we need your help. So we have 4 of them created. They are named endowments. They are all spin-off unrestricted dollars. And these lovely ladies can tell you a little bit about why they created an endowment at the Smith-Lemli-Opitz Foundation. And Kate, do you want to go first?
I hadn't planned to talk about this, but the main thing I was going to say about fundraisers in general is that they are much easier to do than you might imagine, and that you can get super creative, and it's really endless, the kind of fundraiser that you can have. As Gretchen's already mentioned, all the different sorts. We have had a fundraiser in a pub that was super fun and successful, because there is a family where the dad is an Irish pub owner. So that was a natural fit. We've had poetry fundraisers for Juki. We wrote a book called Where's Juki, where all their proceeds go to the foundation. So, but the way that our fundraisers mostly work, in addition to the book that we wrote, is through Facebook, and it couldn't be easier. So we thought we would turn our Facebook fundraisers into this new endowment fund, and we had a goal set for $25,000. I think we had to hit over the course of 5 years, and is it in 1 year? Or over the course of 2 years, we have already reached $20,000. Yeah, so we are almost at our goal in less than half the time. And I was a little nervous about doing it because it was a lot of pressure to come up with, that many donations. And I'm pleasantly surprised that it was super doable and relatively easy, because people really do care about our kids. And, everybody in our lives knows our kids. Juki is famous in our town. We'll get texts sometimes. People will say, I saw Juki on the Greenbelt by Dos Coyotes restaurant. and I don't see anybody near him. And then I'll say, well, just look for a minute, you'll see his dad. Because people know to look out for him because we live in a small town. So when you put the word out that you're trying to raise money for the Smith-Lemli-Opitz Foundation, which is, you know, the rare weird syndrome that no one's ever heard of, people want to give because they care about this kid. They care about his family. They care about all kids like him. So people truly want to give, and all you really have to do is give them a place to do it. And Gretchen will personally lead you through the process, because even I was nervous about it. I thought, I don't know, I've never, you know, run a fundraiser in my life. I don't know how to do it. It's not, I'm not the money person. Gretchen's the money person. I'm the people person. But she walked me through all of it, and she made it doable. And she'll do that for you too. And you might be surprised how much money you can raise for our kids.
Well, it doesn't have to be obviously 25,000. I mean, most of these endowments start between, I mean, you can start it at 7,500 or 10,000, and you can do it over 5 years. So divide, you know, even 5,000 divided by, I think 5,000 is the lowest that the bank that we're set up with for the endowments will do, but then over 5 years, it's 1,000. It very easily can reach that with a very small fundraiser. People are very surprised with how much support there is. And Amy, you had started an endowment in memory of Angela. And how did that come about? Because yours was a little bit different than Facebook.
Well, after Angela passed, we were just thinking about her, constantly wondering about ways we could honor her memory and keep her name alive. And we had family members who lived far away, and they were always wondering how they could help. And they made a donation in Angela's name for a couple of years, directly to the foundation. And it just built from there. And so we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
Yes, we're thankful.
And then our fourth one is in memory of Zophar Williams, and that has been established by Bonnie and her family as well. So just to give you a concept of why this is important is that just with these 4 endowments, which over the 5 years, some will get there quicker, some will, you know, some were already established immediately, and then some like us over the 5 years. But together, we have already raised enough that the spinoff will fund the foundation website into perpetuity. So we get hit by a bus, the foundation will still move, you know, go forward and help families from around the world. And that's our goal, is to just be self-funded. And so if you're interested at all, this was the brainchild actually of Carolyn Kelly, our previous board member. And she said, you know, she knew of some, she was on a board and they did, you know, something with the 13th chromosome and so we thought, okay, ours is on the 11th chromosome. We'll do these cute little, if you look at your table, there are these cute little bracelets, wristbands, silicone wristbands that say SLO. If you know 11 people, it's as simple as that. 11 friends and family that want to support you. You can give them each one. Go ahead and take any of the swag off the tables that you'd like, pins, stickers, anything. But it's a super easy way to start. And nobody has to start with an endowment. You know, just start making a difference. $5, $10, anything every year. You know, with enough of us, I mean, we have the power of up to 1,200 people. And right now, based on the surveys we've done, we have 100 people raising their hand to fundraise. That's a lot. That's how many of these are going out in the mail next week when I relax and start on the next thing. But I'll get to that next week, and we're going to be mailing those all out. But join the team, join the fun. If you'd like a packet, please take it. And we'd love to have your help with this particular thing. But thank you very much, because just about every single person in this room has made a significant impact, either financially, with your time helping another person, responding in the Facebook support group to somebody in need. All of that makes the foundation. And we're so grateful for your help and for your love and support and for coming to the conference, but also everybody live streaming. You know, we miss you, hope you can come, but we plan to live stream every time so that the word can get out and we can support more and more people. So anything that I'm missing, anything you want to add? Okay, I won't get hit by a bus, I promise. But thank you. The ultimate goal is within 5 years, we're going to get to $2.5 billion. So if you know of anybody who can help us, business who can sponsor us, anybody, please see me after for a conversation. All right. Thank you so much.
Let's give it up for the board. Thank you so much, Amy, Kate, and Gretchen.
Gretchen, there are some questions online.
All right.
Sure.
We're just about to introduce our next speaker, but I'm curious to know what those questions are.
First one is, do we have an estimate of how many people have SLO in the US and outside of the USA? That's a tough one.
That's a you guys question. That's
It's extremely hard to get at those numbers with the US healthcare system, the way it's fragmented, et cetera. It is a discussion that we had the other night. One of the reasons for a foundation to support a registry, just so that information is available, because those are fundamental questions that we don't have a good answer for.
Part of what I'm hearing from Dr. Porter is if you want to find out the answer, make a donation to the Smith-Lemli-Opitz Foundation, because eventually we'll find out.
And Gretchen,
Right. That's how I interpreted Dr. Porter's comments anyway.
and the other question was, how do people online or not at this conference get these bracelets? Who do they contact? What do they say?
me. So my contact information is in the leadership section on our website. It's one of the first tabs. You can go ahead and email me with your name and address and we'll send them to you. And yes, we'll get you started. Absolutely.
That's right. In order to relax and recover next week, Gretchen's going to start a mail order campaign sending out tchotchkes to people all across the country. So make sure to let her know that you want some of that swag. And thank you for those questions from home.